Exploration. Part 2. Echoes between stars. The days no longer held meaning, but something had shifted, subtle at first like a shadow just out of frame. Elias had spent so long adrift in the quiet, welcoming the stillness, surrendering to the numb peace of isolation, that he hadn't noticed the ache at first. It crept in quietly, not like panic, but like yearning. A hunger not for food or water, but for something older, something spiritual. The Odyssey continued its endless cruise through the star lanes. Hera announced every course correction with the same precision, and Elias responded with the same short confirmations. His duties, while limited, were still performed with the same reliability. Systems checked, reports filed, the structure held. But behind the structure, Elias was unraveling in a different way now, not in fear, but in remembrance. He began dreaming again, vividly. Dreams that didn't feel like his own, places he'd never visited, faces that didn't match anyone from his past. In one dream, he sat by a fire on a red desert planet, holding a stone that pulsed with warmth in his hand. In another, he was a child again, but with the mind of an old man, watching stars from beneath the water's surface. Every time he woke, there was a feeling of being watched, not with menace, but with knowing, as if something out there had noticed his loneliness. "Hera," he said softly one morning, voice raspy with disuse. "Do you ever think?" "I am capable of simulated introspection, Commander," Hera replied with programmed warmth. "Would you like me to engage the philosophical interface?" "No," Elias said after a pause. "I was just wondering." She said nothing more, and the silence returned. But it was no longer a blanket. It was a mirror. The longer he stared into it, the more it reflected back, all the versions of himself he'd tried to ignore. He found himself in the observation dome more often, gazing into the void until he imagined movement in the stars. Once, he swore he saw a flicker, like a single spark, pulsing. He blinked, but it was gone. "Just my eyes," he muttered. But it left something behind, a question he couldn't shake. What if he wasn't alone? Not physically. He didn't believe in little green men or spacecraft hiding behind moons. But in a metaphysical sense, what if the universe was aware of him? What if, out here in the inky deep, he had finally gotten close enough to listen to it breathe? That night, Elias spoke aloud as he floated. He didn't plan to. The words just came. "I miss being understood." It was a strange confession. He hadn't realized how deep the craving ran. He didn't miss conversation. Not really. He missed resonance. He missed the rare moments when someone heard what he didn't say and nodded anyway. The ship hummed quietly in reply, offering no comfort, but no denial either. He went back into his journal and opened an entry he'd ignored for weeks. But instead of logging status updates, he typed, "I think I was trying to disappear. I told myself I wanted peace. But now I wonder if I just wanted to escape myself. The truth is, space doesn't let you escape. It surrounds you until you have no choice but to see clearly." That night, the dreams deepened. He stood on a vast dark plain. Above him, stars swirled like ink in water. A voice, neither male nor female, neither loud nor soft, spoke, though its words were felt, not heard. "You are not lost. You are becoming." He woke with the tears on his cheeks, floating upward in the zero-gravity sleep chamber. He stared at them, weightless globes of salt water, drifting like tiny planets around his face. He watched until they dissolved against the walls. Elias began speaking more. Not to Hera, not even to himself, but to the space around him, as if the ship itself was listening, as if the stars had ears. He told stories from his past, regrets, joys, memories of his brother's laughter, the way his dog used to tilt its head when it didn't understand. He recited poetry from memory, sang parts of songs under his breath. He didn't do it for comfort. He did it to remember he was still human. He floated in the cargo bay one afternoon, arms spread out, pretending he was falling through the sky. Not flying, falling. He closed his eyes and let the darkness press in. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, he laughed. It was quiet, broken, surprised, but real. Hera, he said later, what's the point of a mission like this? To gather data, Commander. To explore. To learn. No, Elias replied gently. I mean, what's the point for me? There was a long pause. Would you like me to activate the counselor program now? Hera asked. He smiled. Number, I think I'm finally starting to get it. The ache inside him had changed. It was no longer the pain of absence. It was the stir of presence, the slow awakening of self, like a seed germinating in the dark. Out here, surrounded by nothing, Elias was finally learning what he was made of. And more importantly, who he was without the roles, the memories, the noise. Space had not taken him apart. It had stripped away the pieces that didn't belong. But the clarity came with a cost. As he drifted through the corridor one evening, lights dimmed to twilight, he paused and touched the wall gently. I think I want to go home, he whispered. And there it was, the truth, simple and unfiltered. Not spoken with desperation, but with realization. He didn't want Earth because it was familiar. He wanted Earth because now he knew what he would bring back to it. Not answers, not data, but himself. Whole, honest, awake. As he floated back into the observation dome, the stars greeted him like old companions. And this time, when he looked out into the void, he didn't feel lost. He felt seen.